Local community leaders joined the Unity March for Puerto Rico at Washington, D.C. to highlight a call for action, and we get coverage of the 7th Annual Hispanic Leadership Summit. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose to get lost in the woods to gain experience in forest management.
Choose to travel through time to understand the past.
Choose to soar to pursue a career in dance.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University. Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas. Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. It was November 19, 1493 that Christopher Columbus discovered Puerto Rico, and this year that event was marked on November 19th with the Unity March for Puerto Rico. Joining me to talk about the significance of the march is Kimberly, Lamberty, Torres, and Eddie Lopez. Eddie and Kimberly, welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you, Bert.
So you just had this big event, and I know, Kimberly, you were here talking about this event not too long ago. Tell me a little bit about how did it go?
Oh, it was fantastic. The Unity March for Puerto Rico took place this past Sunday, November 19th in Washington, D.C., and it was a day of unity, solidarity for the Puerto Rican people.
Leaving from Philadelphia, tell me how the atmosphere was of that group that gathered there to go to D.C.
Well, considering the weather, it was raining hard, the breeze and everything. We had 6 buses go out, and everybody was just happy getting on the bus. It was just amazing, and you felt as soon as you pulled up, the love.
And obviously, we were talking the last show in terms of devastation that's taking place in Puerto Rico. Those folks that went with you from Philadelphia, what were they talking about? What was on their minds?
Well, I believe that, the people that came from Philadelphia came to support, the people on the island. They came because they knew it was the right thing to do. They came because they have family members there. It's affected them personally. They came because of what they're seeing. They see the destruction. They see the need. They see the humanitarian crisis that's going on. And it was a call to action, and they showed up. You
got there. What did you see? How were the people that were gathered there? How was their atmosphere like?
It was great. When we pulled up in the buses, everybody was up we left Philly to Washington, D.C. We were singing the momentum. We talked about the Jones Act. And when we got there, everybody was excited, got the posters out. We came out, and it was just so much love for Puerto Rico. It was just amazing.
And we met you guys with the banner.
Right.
We had a big banner with Philadelphia that was presented to the attendees because we wanted to show, I had been in Washington, D.C. the day before, and I wanted to make sure that when the Philadelphia contingent came and the attendees came, that they were welcomed, and we did that.
Philadelphia, but that contingent included South Jersey.
Absolutely.
You had quite a number that came from South Jersey. In fact, I believe Mo Delgado, councilman of Atlantic City, was part of that contingent as well.
Yes, he did attend. So it was a mixture. We had some South Jersey, mostly, the people from Philadelphia, but it really South Jersey but mostly Philadelphia attendees that were there. But it was great. The vibe. We have videos that people shared with people playing music, playing games on the bus. So it was nice.
I know there was a group singing as well. We're going to play that video. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Y con orgullo repito, yo te quiero
Welcome back to Latino Motion. I have Kimberly, Lamberty, Torres, and S.A.L.E.A Lopez, who participated in the Unity March for Puerto Rico, and we continue to discuss the importance of this march. The march has taken place on November the 19th, and you were both there, had a great time, but we also heard very important messages. Tell me about the messages that you heard.
Well, one of the speakers that was there was Congressman Luis Gutierrez, and he really spoke on the fact that Puerto Rico has asked Congress for $94 billion. He's demanding that Congress release that money to Puerto Rico. He was asking for the debt to be wiped out. He was basically saying, you know, we are American citizens. If we're good enough to draft, if we're good enough to fight in the war, we should be good enough for you to help us out at this time. It's in a dire need. It's a humanitarian crisis going on. And he is asking for Congress to step up to the plate and do what they're supposed to do for the 3.5 American citizens that are suffering today in Puerto Rico.
And Congressman Gutierrez is certainly an advocate for Latinos and immigration. What was the reaction of the crowd when they heard that message?
It was just phenomenal. Everybody was cheering. They said it. Just like he said, you wanted Puerto Rico, you got us. Just take care of us. We're not asking for anything that we don't deserve. And that is the truth. And just like you said, you know, you want us to fight your war. You know, you want us to be involved, but you don't want to take care of us.
Right. Let's talk about some of the other speakers. And you had the likes of Lin-Manuel Miranda, very important Puerto Riqueño, who happened to be the creator of the play Hamilton, and you also had Rita Moreno participating. Tell me about their speeches.
Well, Rita Moreno, she's a legend, you know, in her own right. And she opened up, she was very pained to see the way the president had treated Puerto Rico on his visit. You know, she mentioned how humiliating it was to be the paper towels to be thrown at us. But she did say that she wanted to stand there in love and in light, and that she was hoping that love would touch the president and Congress, and you know, and in love to give what we need and what we deserve as Puerto Rico. And like Eddie mentioned, you know, we're not asking for anything better. We're asking for equal treatment. You know, every fiscal year, Puerto Rico generates about $60 billion a year for the United States of America. So, you know, some people say, oh, they keep asking for money. We're not asking, you know, Puerto Rico's not asking for anything that it doesn't deserve.
Like any other U.S. citizen.
Exactly.
And obviously there was a lot of Puerto Ricans, but you also saw others in the crowd that were cheering on that weren't Puerto Rican.
Yes, I saw personally next to me Afro-Americans, Caucasian. We were talking about earlier, people coming from Philadelphia. I met a group that came from Massachusetts. They drove all the way down for this.
So that really illustrates the unity that existed in the march. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. One Cumberland is bringing Cumberland County residents and organizations together, all to donate to one relief cause.
And One Cumberland will hold the Heart to Heart Puerto Rico Telethon live on all SNJ Today outlets, 99.9 FM, Channel 22, as well as Facebook Live and our website.
One special thing to note is 100% of all funds raised will be sent directly to the people of Puerto Rico. Remember, together we're one country, one community, and one group of people.
We are One Cumberland, and our focus right now is to send as much help as we can to those suffering in Puerto Rico. For more information about the telethon and how you or your organization can donate, please visit www.onecumberland.net.
Welcome back to Latino Motion. We continue our discussion on the Unity March for Puerto Rico with Kimberly, Lamberty, Torres, and S.A.L.E.A Lopez. And we just talked about some of the great speeches you heard. And I know you had one final thought in terms of some of the speeches that you heard, one key message that was conveyed.
And the key message that was conveyed and that I received, and I'm sure Eddie received as well, is that we, the people, we have the power with our voice, with our voting rights. We have the power to make the changes that we want to see. It starts with us. At November 2018, we're going to have the opportunity to come out and vote. So with that said, I'm urging everyone to register to vote, get on the floor, do grassroots efforts, and get that going.
There's a lot more to do for Puerto Rico, and I know, Eddie, you're also involved in some of the efforts. Tell me about that.
Well, right after the hurricane, myself as president of S.A.L.E.A and vice president of NCLO made some phone calls to the president of NCLO, and we got into a conference call. And what we agreed on is that each organization under NCLO will do their own fundraiser and get the money or anything that we raise to Puerto Rico. S.A.L.E.A, we started a GoFundMe page, and it's S.A.L.E.A for Puerto Rico. And so far, we raised a total of $10,000 now. And it's on our Facebook page if anybody want to donate to Puerto Rico.
And I know, Kimberly, you were here talking about some of the great efforts, some of the organizations that you were involved with, also raising funds for Puerto Rico.
Absolutely. And, you want to promote everyone, because everyone's doing great things. We have the Puerto Rico Strong campaign by Wanda Mora. You have Unidos para Puerto Rico as well, having their fundraising efforts with the warehouse where they're still receiving food. You have S.A.L.E.A's GoFundMe page as well. So I think the community has really come out in force.
And one of the things we try, I know you've made that message, and you as well, it's more important to give money than to collect goods, because it's very difficult, and there's an additional expense to deliver those goods, correct?
Exactly. I mean, delivering goods, a lot of people have well intentions. They want to collect supplies and have people, bring them supplies to send to Puerto Rico. But once they find out the cost and how much it costs, so I would urge you to donate to these grassroots efforts.
Very, very important. I did want to mention one quick event that's taking place in Cumberland County. It's One Cumberland. It's a great event. It's a telethon to raise funds for Puerto Rico. It's all going for Unidos for Puerto Rico, the same fund that many of you are also supporting. So I do want to thank you for this time to come and talk about all these efforts, and hope to have you back and talk some more.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to continue with Latino Motion in just a moment. Welcome back to Latino Motion. This past October 21st, the Hispanic Leadership Association held their 7th annual Hispanic Leadership Summit at Rowan University. I'm happy to have Dominic Sovereign, one of our interns here at Latino Motion. She's joining us to help introduce some of the footage that she personally captured as part of the Hispanic Leadership Summit.
Thanks, Bert. I really enjoyed the event and was able to capture the beginning of the program at Rowan University, where the summit was held.
Well, let's take a look. It was a very important start to the program. Let's take a look.
It starts with education, civic education, and empowerment. Together, we can look forward to engaging conversations that will birth ideas and will continue to move the Hispanic community pa'lante, moving forward.
So I'm just really honored and thank you for inviting me. But on behalf of the mayor and council, we welcome you to Glassboro. We hope you have another successful summit, and hopefully you'll return next year. And congratulations to all of the awardees, and just have a great time in Glassboro. Thank you.
Folks, we have about 2 million Latinos in New Jersey. And that's a voice. It could be united or divided. That's the whole purpose of this conference. And it's really for us to come together as one. But not just government, but even corporations and nonprofits, decision makers. We want you to get involved. Young people, this is your future. This is the beginning, folks. This is what's going to give you that nourishment. This is what's going to empower you. Don't be followers. Be leaders. Take control of your action. Take control of your destiny. We love to sacrifice what we do because something good's going to come out of this. And by you coming here, it speaks value. And we're going to honor, we have 2 scholarship recipients, Jamie Lee Lisboa and Kimberly A. Ruiz. They're here. Please give them a round of applause.
As you may know, we had a devastating event down in Puerto Rico, and there are many corporations that are stepping out there to help. Also, Nilsa Cruz Perez and others, Angel Fuentes and others have also taken leadership roles in raising funds to help Puerto Rico, so we're very proud. When a disaster happens, we all come together, and this is very important, particularly many of us who have families in Puerto Rico. This is a time that we all need to do our part. Just quick remarks to the students, and we have the audience here is mostly students from various high schools that have come. And yes, I'm going to point at you, Cato. My son is here, Cato, who's a senior. You guys are the reasons why we do these kind of events. The scholarship is one way, but educating our community is so critical for us, and it all starts with you. You're the ones that have to carry on for us, and we want you to be involved. We want you to get engaged. People here that are great examples, and if you're looking to be a doctor, if you're looking to be an attorney, find out and talk to some of the folks that are in this room. It's very important. And thanks for coming.
Okay, uno, dos, tres.
Dominic, thank you for that coverage. It was a good start to that morning and certainly a day full of programming. But we have more coverage, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. We have more coverage on the 7th Annual Hispanic Leadership Summit, and I'm joined once again with our show's intern, Dominic Soverall, who participated at the summit and captured another important part of that program.
Well, Bert, I was able to capture a presentation of the morning program. It was on the important topic of mindfulness, presented by Clarissa Romero.
And I know she was on the show previously, and it was a very good topic. Let's listen in.
A lot of times I'm teaching people how to be mindful, which means, cultivating this present moment awareness and this focus, and someone will come and disturb everything, right? That's life. We say, I meditated today, I took my deep breaths, I'm doing something to be in the present moment, and something will happen that will get us off our course or irritate us or not go as planned. We are living in a time of a lot of distraction and a lot of disruption. That's just a reality. Most of you in here have grown up with technology all around you. And today you're gonna learn, what all this stimulus, all this information overload is doing to our brains and to our central nervous system, which is why I started by asking you all to take 3 deep breaths. Sounds very simple, but there's brain science and there's neuroscience behind that. And don't let those words intimidate you. It's just important to know that we are wired to react and think in certain ways, and that a lot of times when it's not to our benefit, there are things that we can do. Is the discovery that we spend 50% of our time completely lost. This is everyone in this room. Unless you're an experienced mindfulness meditator, you're spending 50% of your time completely lost in space, completely lost. And what the research has found is that you're thinking about something that happened in the past, and what the research found is that what you're thinking about is something that happened in the past that was not positive. Sometimes we're causing a lot of anxiety, predicting something that might happen in the future that obviously has not even happened yet. So that's 50% of our time that we're doing that. And the next cycle is where you kind of are distracted, you realize you were distracted, but you're kind of like focusing again. We spend 20% of our time there. So between the 47, which is almost 50, and another 20, that means that 70% of our time is wasted. And then what do we complain most of the time? I have no time. So we're constantly complaining, I have no time, I'm running out of time. But as you can see, when you know that this is revolutionary, when we realize that every single human being's brain goes through this cycle. And when you practice mindfulness, you hack that. You can hack your brain. You can hack your brain's natural cycle, which is to get lost in space. And when it gets lost, another thing that the research found is that it activates your amygdala, because a lot of times you're focused on something negative. So I'd like to leave you with this understanding, but on top of the fact that not only it activates your fear response when you're lost in space, you're releasing every single thought that you have, every single thought. Think about that. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts on average every day, every human being. And most of those thoughts are negative. When that happens, you release a lot of cortisol and stress hormone, which usually leads to illness. So this is why mindfulness is a science that not only helps you to stay focused, it helps you to be healthy, it helps you to be compassionate, which guess what? The research has shown that when you're compassionate and you cultivate compassion for yourself and others, you activate your prefrontal cortex. So everything, there's a science, a unified science that, I don't know, to me it makes me feel so empowered that I have all this power to rewire my brain to be successful, to be happy. That's why you're gonna hear a lot of times books on the science behind happiness, the science behind compassion, the science behind success. Guess what it is? You just learned it today. Thank you.
Dominique, thank you for volunteering and capturing that video for us.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that.
So how does it feel to be on this side of the table?
It's very nerve-wracking. I'm you're never prepared enough to do this.
But thank you so much. Really appreciate your volunteer work and helping us out here on Latino Motion.
Not a problem.
And unfortunately, that's all the time we have. So thank you for joining us at home once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose to get your feet wet, to learn more about protecting our environment. Choose to read minds, to understand the human brain.
Choose to get your hands dirty, to create a masterpiece.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.